Hi, my name is Jonathan. Welcome to the Haystack. I thought I'll go ahead and do a video today simply because I reached 400 subscribers today, which is more than I ever thought I'd get. But also to talk about some other things. Sunday, I gave a talk and I was talking about the importance of the Book of Mormon and relating how important that is given what year it's always important, right? Sorry, my wife and I have been sick, so I'm trying to get some sunshine, feel a little bit better. But 200 years ago, this September, was when Moroni came and visited Joseph. Something I didn't realize. I was actually studying in the I think it was the Institute manual for the book of Daniel, and I was looking for just out of curiosity parallels between the visitation with Daniel and Gabriel and with Joseph and Moroni. And I'm not going to get into that one, but what I lost my train of thought. But what I felt like was important. Okay, yeah, now I remember. All right, so came across some other things I didn't expect. Like, we know in the year 2020, President Nelson did a special broadcast where he was out in the Sacred Grove. Oh, do you like that? The wind blowing. And that was the 200th anniversary, right? So bicentennial of the first vision. Well, there was a centennial sacred convocation or meeting Heber J. Grant had in 1923 in September. So it wasn't exactly the same date, same day. It would have been like the 21st. I think this was held on like the 22nd or 26th. I can't remember which. All my pages that I had open froze and wouldn't reload, which happens a lot for me when I have to stop and go deal with kids, and I come back and I have all these pages open, and most of them on the church website, and none of them will reload. So I try and copy and paste and try and re-find everything that I had, turn my computer on and off, whatever works. But it only happens on the church website. That it just freezes. So I found other meetings that were held after that date, and it was Heber J. Grant during that time of the Depression had gone and purchased a lot of church properties. B.H. Roberts was a mission president at that time, and B.H. Roberts, anytime you think of Adam-ondi-Ahman and those or church historical things, his name comes up all the time. So he was a mission president at the time, and I think what they ended up doing, I think a couple years later, maybe the same year, but they had 11 states that they had missionaries in that region for the eastern states, and all the missionaries they had gathered to Palmyra or the hill Cumorah, and to travel with packs that had Cumorah and on it, and they were to do missionary work every step of the way. They were to walk all the way there. And it gathered in together, and they had a great meeting. And I can't remember if it is or is not the same meeting, that sacred convocation in September of 1923. And it got me thinking if we're going to have another one of those meetings, at least not a meeting, but like a broadcast. because this would be 200 years. And again, if you watch my other video, I did look it up. It was 3.5 years since Joseph had the first vision. So he had that when he was 14. 3.5 years later, he's 17. You guys who are all about the numbers will, find a lot of significance there. But then we went on for 4 years of preparation. So he was told 3 times that night by the angel Moroni the very same message. The prophecy of Joel in the 2nd chapter, which in October of 2001, Gordon B. Hinckley said that was fulfilled. Uniquely in the 1990s, Elder Nelson said that we were in the midst of that. And everything surrounding 2000, 2001, and the events that happened there set the world on a trajectory, on a completely different path. And there's so many different places to go with it that I'm not going to begin to. Anyways, I started thinking, there's a lot of people who say we're in the 6th, we're in the 7th seal. Which one is it? Well, I tend to think we're still in the 6th. Lots of people say that in 2000 we entered the 7th. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But the reason I say the 6th is I'm wondering if the 7th seal being opened would have any kind of significance to the sealed portion of the Book of Mormon being revealed. Know that the original edition of the Book of Mormon, there's so much there. There's so much there about the chain of custody of the Urim Thummim and the interpreters and the records from Ether and from the brother of Jared. I know that the original edition shows the chain of custody switching from, I think it was Mosiah having custody of the 24 plates, but then it got switched to Benjamin, one or the other. All I know is that Parley P. Pratt, the original edition, Joseph put one thing. Parley P. Pratt changed the name on there, thinking, no, he must have had the custody of those plates. And from that time forward, we've kind of perpetuated that. But that was not as stated by Joseph. And unless there's some narrative on why it was changed and that Joseph desired it to be changed, which I don't know about. I don't know if that exists. But I thought, what kind of things might be held in the sealed portion? Hey, sweetie pie. What a goober. Anyways, I just got curious about the temple work and the first shall be last and last shall be first about the Israelites. And I know I've stated this before. I'm just going to state it a little bit more clearly in a shorter video. Do you think that we would be given a greater genealogical record or historical record of record from the brass plates or from or from the brother of Jared, which would contain people who need proxy work done? So think about that, and then think of the 10 lost tribes, because the gathering of Israel is the 10 lost tribes, right? four corners of the earth, the four winds of heaven. Perhaps that's speaking concerning temple work, because you're gathering from heaven. And that the lost remnant, this is what Michael B. Rush talks about a lot, and this is where I disagree with him, is I think he does believe that there is a lost, preserved remnant of Israelites. Maybe in a little bit, okay? That are held in a different realm, a different world from space. I don't know. But when it says that this lost remnant is in heaven, it doesn't say the heavens. But I would think that lost remnant are those who have passed on. And that's the temple work. And that's right in line with what President Nelson says concerning the gathering of the 10 tribes. But I wonder if we see this gathering as being far more remarkable, that we speak of this and not so much of the Moses and parting of the Red Sea. I wonder if it's because maybe this is part of where we get... Yeah, that's so cool, huh? About how the records contain names of people whose work had not been done. And would this be the lost remnant coming from heaven, then coming into the resurrection? Is this why we need so many temples? Is so we can start prioritizing this record when it comes in? If I'm speculating here, but the wheels are turning. They're turning pretty good. Maybe you think I'm crazy or thinking too much, but I think for the first time I'm thinking straight. No, I don't know. It's something to really think about. And when we start thinking about the sealed portion and what needs to happen, and those things which were revealed to all these prophets, but only John could have written about it, and that is contained in Revelations. And Revelations is just, there's a lot of things that are making a lot more sense to me, and I think I'm probably the only one that thinks it. Like, like the 4 angels, for instance, the 4 angels spoken of. I could be completely off base, but to me, I tend to think of that as those sealing keys, the Gospel of Abraham, the keys for the gathering of Israel, and Melchizedek priesthood. The Aaronic priesthood, of course, is absorbed in the Melchizedek priesthood keys. So I just thought, could those be the 4 angels? Because when those were introduced is when we're told that the 4 angels were loosed. So, and they do the same thing. We're doing basically what happened with Noah, the time of Noah. Noah went and bore testimony and warned people, cried repentance for over 100 years. But why did he do that? Well, it's the same reason we're doing it now. We're trying to gather, but at the same time, we are also bearing witness and testimony and giving people the opportunity that it at least reaches all the lands. That we're bearing testimony of these things, and people can know where they've heard them, where they can turn. But also, the temple covenant specifically, it's when you become part of this covenant, either you are in the covenant or you are under Satan's power, which is what we hear in the temple. if we don't hold up to our covenants, we will be in Satan's power. We'll be in his grasp. So would that not also be the seal of Babylon upon the heads of the wicked? First you seal the saints, then you seal. Then it's the same 4 angels that seal and commit all destruction. It's the thing that we do to overcome the world, rise above it, just like Noah's Ark rose above upon the waters. Anyways, just some thoughts I wanted to share with you. And maybe I have 400 now, but maybe I have like 10 people unsubscribe. I don't know. I tend to get tons of subscribers from an early short that I did, and it garnered a lot of attraction. So I end up people would realize, oh, this guy's LDS. The thing I put on was not a church-related thing. So I end up just muting it and turning it off, even though it was my highest performing video. So I just turned it off, and I've been having less people unsubscribe since then. Less people subscribing too. So if you're here, thank you. And let me know what your thoughts are. Did the Israelites have these records already set apart? Or not set apart, but have their temple work already done? Or were there just few who did? Would we find this with the brass plates? Would we then be introduced to angels leading us to further records?